freaking first cut. Golly. Welcome to the First Cut Podcast. I'm Rick Gehman, and this is your recap episode for the FedEx St. Jude Championship, an exciting and, dare I say, historic event. Joining me to break it all down, Patrick McDonald is here. Patrick, hello.
Second straight season, you get a playoff to kick off the playoffs, a little inception there. Couldn't really draw up a better start.
Couldn't really do it. Exhibit would be proud. Greg DuCharme is here. Hello, Greg.
What a week, boys. It was something else. So really cool tournament. And I enjoyed watching it down the stretch. I don't want to spoil it, so I'll stop right now.
Don't spoil it 90 seconds in. The people will lose their freaking minds. Kyle Porter is here. Hello, KP.
Hello, Rick. Yeah, fun week. Great leaderboard. Interesting stories. It was good on Sunday.
This tournament ended in a Josh. I didn't tell him about this.
Playoffs?
Yeah, good enough. Playoff. That is right. We got a two-man playoff at 15 under par for the second consecutive year. How did we get there? Well, our overnight leader, Lucas Glover, was steady out of the gate, Patrick. It was a birdie on 3. He played his first 12 holes even par. It was slow and steady as he was watching the board behind him pile up with the likes of Rory McIlroy, Patrick Cantlay, Jordan Spieth, Victor Hovland made a run at this thing. It was a bunch of lions chasing a gazelle.
Slow and steady, yes, but he was kind of pulling off the cash for clunkers lot with duct tape with the bumper and everything, holding on the his bumper. Number 2, he made a great par save. Number 1, he made a great par save too. But he really did what he had to do early on. Just, pick off the par 5, go about your business. Maybe another one comes. Maybe another one doesn't. And then he goes into his back 9, makes a nice par save there on 10 from about 8 feet after a kind of tricky chip. And on 13, I kind of think he got screwed with that ruling. Where it bounced a little and was embedded. We were talking about his wife in the background. Justine was on the scene. Rory McIlroy had that same lie on 18 that same day. That tweet is still up, by the way. And he got a drop.
If you want to talk about the corrupt golf media, the fact that no one ever said to him, hey, Patrick, your official Twitter account tweeted the exact same thing that this other account who has been ripping everyone sideways for the last 3 years tweeted. Would you like to comment on that?
It's not still up from his account, is it, Patrick?
Yeah.
No.
Yes.
Yeah.
That's the mind if I stick my fingers in there day.
That's right.
Yeah.
Friday or Saturday at Torrey Pines. That's the day.
But I digress.
Yeah, we could digress for like an hour there.
Well, that's what Patrick is referring to is, ball short of 13, Greg. It looked embedded to me. I don't know. I mean, they pulled it out. They stuck their fingers in it, and they said, no relief from here.
Yeah, it's really tough to tell on camera. I mean, it's sitting down in the grass. Is it under the surface? I mean, there's no way to tell from the camera angle. So the only way to know is to stick your fingers in there. And they did that, and he didn't get relief. And you could see when he was making those practice swings, he was not happy. And he didn't really know what he was going to do. And of course it comes out with no spin. It comes out hot, which is kind of one of two options. It's like in a lie like that, it never comes out just right. It's either going to come out way too hot and go burning over past the flag like it did for Lucas, or it's going to come up way short. But the good news was he got it on the green, gave himself a putt at it, and buried it.
Ball don't lie, KP. He makes the 20-footer for par, but the wheels are coming off because he finds the water on 14 with his tee shot. That's the par 3. Not even really close, honestly. He has to go to the drop area. He hits it to 30 feet, 29 feet, 8 inches to be exact. And what does he do? He rolls another one in. 50 feet worth of putts on 13 and 14 that he plays at 1 over to keep himself alive.
I mean, he should have shot 75. Right? I mean, if you would have told me that he I think through 17, I think he had 25 putts today. Through 17 holes, he had 23 putts. I would have thought he shot a 60 and won by 10. And he hit it. You know, it was interesting. You and I talked about this on HQ, or we were on HQ together before the round started. And I was like, man, I think he's going to win because his floor is so high because of the ball striking. And he just hit it terribly. But the putter was, I mean, it was kind of Spiethy out there. It was crazy to watch, and it was fun. I was very glad for him being in the mix coming, down the stretch over the last few holes and on into the playoff.
So while that is happening, the leaderboard taking shape behind, and one man starts to nudge his nose ahead. That is Patrick Cantlay, who goes out in 32. Makes another birdie on 10. And then Patrick, whatever it is, Patty Ice finds a way in the playoffs, right? He won 3 of the 5 playoff events leading into this one. He makes birdies on 15 and 16, and he posts a number now that Lucas Glover's going to have to go get.
Yeah, right when Glover hit it into the water there on the par 3, you thought, all right, this is going to be Patrick Cantlay's to lose at this moment. He made the birdie on the short par 4, backs it up with an easy birdie on the par 5. Glover's up, in complete disarray. He has that par putt on 17 that easily could have missed, but he was, like Kyle said, he was Jordan Spieth for the day. And Rick, I mean, it's Patrick Cantlay. He's a cash grab type of guy. If he won this event, he would have been the first ever to win each of the playoff events. Like you said, he's won 3 of these already. If he had won, his last 4 individual stroke play events would have come over a combined 200 golfers. The 4 playoff events. You got 30, 50, 50, 70, which is just, I know people used to poke fun at Xander Schauffele a little bit for limited field no-cut events. I mean, his boy really took the pylon from him, was off and running. So for Cantlay, it's a bit weird where he's the highest on the FedEx Cup without a win. And statistically, strokes gained wise, I'm pretty sure it's up there, maybe a few decimals off as his best season ever statistically.
Yeah.
And the win variance just hasn't come for him. He had another, Rick, I think you tweeted this out, the close call at the Shriners when he hooked it left off the tee there as well. A few other close calls. So it's been a great season for him, but I don't know. Winning in the playoffs and contending in the playoffs is great, but Patrick Cantlay, for me, it's just like he hasn't really shown up in big tournaments. He didn't really show up in the artists formerly known as designated events, soon to be signature events, too much. And so,
or the majors,
or the majors. Yeah. I'm sure he'll
better in the majors,
rake those in because there's 70 to 80 players next year. But for this year, he's going to be making a boatload of money.
Sunday 64, Greg, for Patrick Cantlay, and then he has to wait. He's got to sit in scoring. He's got to soak up a little AC. He opted to go putting green, driving range. I thought he got to the first tee a little early. I thought he was doing a little too much standing around. It's weird when you post as early as Cantlay did and then have to wait and see if you're even going to be in a playoff.
Yeah, of course, especially when it's hot like this. When you're really warm and then you cool down and you go back into the heat, it's easy to stiffen up a little bit. So fortunately able to, have a chance to hit some balls, but I think it really did play a role because that tee shot a little lower, a little more left than any tee shot we saw him hit all day. I mean, he missed the fairway on his first hole and didn't miss another fairway until the playoff. I mean, this was an absolute stripe show. It's not often you're playing a group with Rory McIlroy and you outdrive him, outperform him, have a better performance off the tee than Rory. And that's exactly what Patrick Cantlay did today. He gave himself countless opportunities and his irons weren't sharp, but he was playing from really easy spots, and he didn't have to hit great shots to leave himself 15 to 20 feet very often, and he did that a lot today, and that's how you shoot this round to 6 under. That is very Patrick Cantlay-esque. It was a stripe show off the tee. He hit it to 15, 20 feet on a number of occasions and made a couple. And all of a sudden it's 6 under 64.
Post 15 under, KP. So Lucas Glover steps to 16T, needing to play the final 3 at 1 under. He takes advantage of the par 5 16th. So now he is at 15 under. He yanks one left off the tee at 17. Has to kind of just knock one down the fairway and try to get up and down from 57 yards. Leaves himself with an 11-footer for par. Spoiler alert. Makes it. Then he gets to 18. That's fairway, green, 2 putts, and we're headed to a playoff.
17 was the one where when he was over it, I was like, there's no way. Like he's made another 11-footer, a 7-footer, a 20-footer, a 29-footer. Like this is running out, and I could just envision what was happening with Cantlay kind of, sneaking around up the board for the win. It felt like a really bad, like you have these final rounds where you're in the lead after 54 and you just play bad on Sunday. It just happens, right? And that's what Glover did today, and yet he still won. It's sorry, I just spoiled it, but it doesn't really add up to me. It doesn't make sense. It was like a kind of ballsy, like sweet performance from somebody who didn't have his stuff today. I thought it was kind of big boy stuff.
Guts it out, gets into a playoff. They get up to the first tee. Patrick Cantlay goes first. Our Patrick. He does the thing he did at Shriners. Immediately came to mind. If you remember on the 72nd hole with Patrick Cantlay in the mix at Shriners, he hit it left into the desert. Then he hit one out of the desert and it didn't go anywhere. Then he hit in the water. It was
a mess.
Total disaster.
That was a mess.
Just absolute disaster. Immediately pops into my brain, Patrick, because he hits it. It almost stays up, trickles into the water, and now frees up Lucas Glover to hit any type of shot he wants.
Yeah, you just got to blow it right, if anything. You can't be missing left. I know you want to be aggressive, throw a little pressure on Lucas Glover, but like Greg said, I didn't see him hit a 3-wood out there on the range. I saw a lot of wedge shots and outside of just sitting in the scoring tent. So I'm sure he was still loose because it was so hot out there, but it's tough to go up on that tee and needing to just put the ball out there. And then, you kind of in the playoff. I know last year we saw Sepp Straka hit in the water and Zalatoris blow it almost out of bounds, and they both made par, I think. But for Cantlay to do that, it's just disappointing. And it was a fantastic round, the lowest on the golf course today, bogey free, all that jazz. But it's a sour taste, and to not really have a chance in the playoffs, a bit disappointing.
Lucas Glover finds the middle of the fairway. He finds the green. He 2 putts, and he wins the FedEx St. Jude Championship. And Greg, if you are keeping track at home, that is now 2 in a row for Lucas Glover, which I'm sure we all saw coming.
I don't think so, but we did talk about this a little bit yesterday, right? This guy, tee to green, is very, very good. Like you said, Kyle, talking to Rick before HQ, his floor is kind of high because of his ball striking ability. And he does it a little different than most of the stars in the game. He's not very long, but he's extremely accurate in both his driving accuracy and his proximity numbers. And the thing that saves you, allows you to win when you have a day like this is, having a game that's complete. And he's never really had a game that's complete. He's always had these issues. They showed a putt from 2017 where he almost missed the ball from 1.5 feet. He hit it so far on the heel, it almost missed. Right? This is the yips. The guy had the yips. And all of a sudden he finds a solution to it. And now you have a complete player. And that's not what you would expect. But because this one area was so bad, he wasn't really in the realm of conversation. And the name it doesn't carry very much attention because there's this big gaping area that really limits his ability to compete, prevents him from being competitive, prevents any possibility of a run like this. And now that's solved, and it becomes the thing that saves him to win this event. So, the Wyndham Championship is one thing to win that event, but now you step up in a field of the best players on the PGA Tour and you beat them too. It's a really cool story.
6 weeks ago, KP. 6 weeks ago, Lucas Glover, I don't know, didn't have a job for next year, was trying to figure out what that looks like. Now he will head to the final event before the Tour Championship, 4th in the FedEx Cup points, trying to become our season-long champion. Is there, I know there's Billy Horschel's made a run like this, but is there precedent for a guy who had literally done nothing for the entirety of the year, getting hot right now and doing what Lucas Glover is doing?
Well, so I'm looking at it right now. Glover shot 74-77 at Memorial. Missed the cut, obviously. And he was 185th in the FedEx Cup.
Yep.
I don't know what his status was. I mean, now it says like, oh, he's exempt through 2025 because he won Wyndham last week. I don't know what his status was pre-winning Wyndham. Do you know what it was?
No, but I can try to find out.
But I mean, you're talking about somebody that is not even. We're talking about the Ryder Cup right now, and he was trying to get in the CJ Cup in the fall or in the for next year. Like it's really remarkable. Horschel was the name that I gave out on HQ. Just that Horschel was, I think, playing better at the time, like when he went on his tear at Cherry Hills and into the Tour Championship and everything. But this is sort of what that feels like, just a kind of a more extreme version of it.
So last year, or I guess 2 years ago, the 2021-2022 season, Glover finished. No, that would have been last year.
He won the John Deere in 2021, so he had a 2-year exemption.
Right. So it would have been through
2024, right?
So he would have had for next year.
It's for the rest of the year you won, and then two more.
Correct.
I think.
Mm-hmm. Right. Now, would it have mattered that? I mean, he wouldn't have been in any of these big events, right? Because he would have been outside the top 50. And he would have been playing in the fall to figure out his positioning if he had not gone on this run, right?
I mean, even if he finishes top or like T40, even if he won last week and had a so-so week, like a John Rahm type week, he probably falls out. He was 49th, correct, in earning this week in the FedEx Cup. He could have, with the way Cam Davis played and Hideki, he easily could have been the guy on the outside looking in, and even at that point, he doesn't get into the signature events next year.
Billy Horschel, 2014, he was, let's see here. He played so this was when the schedule still had the PGA Championship in August. And so he was 71st after the PGA Championship in the FedEx Cup rankings. Then so he went into he finished T47 at the Wyndham, and he was 69th going into the FedEx Cup playoffs. Then he goes miscut at the Barclays, T2, wins the BMW, wins the Tour Championship. So it's not like this is crazier just in terms of where Lucas Glover it was in the FedEx Cup standings compared to Horschel, but that was similar, right? That would be like, it would be who was 70th that got in? Ben Griffin. It'd be like Ben Griffin winning playing his way into next week, winning the BMW and winning the Tour Championship.
That would be sick.
That would be insane, right?
Yeah, that would be insane.
It would be wild. I mean, but what's happening is kind of crazier. I mean, I don't know if Lucas Glover is going to go on to win the Tour Championship, but he's going to get strokes on a bunch of guys at East Lake.
Yeah, he probably is. So, Greg, fourth. So, just to put, again, one more stat for you. First 20 events this year, he earned a combined 124 FedEx Cup points. In the last 6, he's earned 2,700. This will be he'll be fourth in the FedEx Cup standings. Even if he has kind of a mediocre week next week, I don't know how far he can drop, but it's gonna be big time.
Yeah, at this top level with only 50 guys, you're probably, let's say you don't have another great week. If you have an off week, hypothetically, you're probably going to drop a spot or two at the most, right? Because people have to pass you. So you figure the guy that wins, if it's not somebody already ahead of you, probably passes you. But you're not going to pass Lucas Glover with a T6. So all of a sudden, those guys that are there's only so many spots where they can pass him.
Yeah.
Right. So it becomes much harder to lose spots as you get really high up the points. So yeah, he's going to go in there probably a 5 under or better with starting strokes at East Lake, which is where Rory won from before. It's significant. You're in the mix. If you're a 5 under or better, you could argue 4. You have a legitimate chance.
He's going to have 1,000-point lead on Tommy Fleetwood, who's 10th. So yeah, he's going to be in the mix. All right, let's just do the Ryder Cup thing. So Lucas Glover will add. So this is all napkin math here. 3,600 points to his Ryder Cup total, which he already moved up 29 spots last week to 235th. By my math, he will be about 16th. He will be between Denny McCarthy and Kurt Kitayama. Now, Denny McCarthy has fallen off the face of the earth, okay? And JT is 14th, right above Denny McCarthy. So, Patrick, is it reasonable to have a conversation around Lucas Glover being on the United States Ryder Cup team?
I think it is reasonable, but I don't think he will be selected for the United States team.
Okay, real quick. We have to, you did it here. We have to differentiate between what we think is going to happen and what we think should happen.
How do you want to attack
this? I don't care. I just want to make it clear to like people that are listening what we think will happen and what we think should happen.
Okay. I think we do should.
Josh, put a poll in the chat. Should Lucas Glover be on the United States Ryder Cup team? Let's do that. Greg, you want to do should?
Yes.
Should or Lucas Glover be on the Ryder Cup team?
Yes.
Wow.
Isn't this why we have 6 captain's picks?
And this is why we moved the date.
This is the entire purpose. It's for this reason. Now, if there were other players, if the other guys that are in the mix were taking spots by finishing, tied 6th, tied 5th, contending, showing great form, then I would second guess it. I completely understand the desire to have a Sam Burns on the team over a Lucas Glover. But I mean, look at basically when I break this down, you're talking about Lucas Glover, Keegan Bradley, Sam Burns, Ricky Fowler, Tony Finau. I'm not even going to mention JT.
Wow.
You add those guys in there, and which one has, really gone out and earned a spot? Maybe Ricky. He won the Rocket Mortgage, but he came and tied 58th this week. Sam Burns came and tied 52nd this week. Tony Finau came in 64th.
Cam Young.
I actually include him on I think he's going to be on the team. But T31. Right.
Hold on. Should Cam Young be on the team, Greg? You said I think he will be on the team. I say, should he be on the team?
No.
No. I still think yes, because I put him over. I put him over a lot of those other guys. What would you take Keegan over? Would you take Keegan over Cam Young?
I wouldn't take either. I wanted to.
Do you take Burns?
I told Patrick this. I want to take like 8 guys. I just want to play with 8. I don't want the bottom 4. Just run them out there with 8. I don't. I tweeted this today. I'm more confused now than I was at any point over the last 2 years. Not only on what will happen, but even what should happen. I don't know, because you're right about Glover playing his way on, but think about it this way: 6 weeks ago, what was he doing, Rick?
Nada. He was doing nothing.
Yeah.
And how far is the Ryder Cup from right now?
Oh God, 6 weeks probably.
Yeah. So it's like, and Rick and I talked about this on Friday. It's like, okay, well, what's the time frame? Like if somebody shoots, if Sahith Theegala shoots a 62 in the final round of the Tour Championship, should they take him? Like I don't know what the time frame should be. And I think that, listen, I think if you're, here's what I think. I think with Lucas Glover, it's like, it's out there in front of you, buddy. Like go do it again at the BMW and you're on the team.
He has to win again, or what does he have to do again?
I don't know, like finish in the top 5 or so, like because you finish in the top 5, you're going to go down to 16th on the points or 15th.
Yeah, well, these guys are dormant, right? Denny's out, or no, Denny's still in. JT's out, but you could pass, right? You could pass a lot of these guys with like a couple 100,000, which is not that big of a deal anymore.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. It's a little bit like, hey, it's in front of you. If you do it and you get into that top 11, 12, 13, okay. But if not, then I don't know. Like I always get a little concerned, Patrick, when everybody's tweeting at me, Lucas Glover has to be on this team. And it's like, we get pretty caught up in the moment here. And I think the selection, like where we are today versus where the selections are 3 weeks from now, it's a long time. It's going to feel a lot different when they make the selections.
So Patrick, as you follow up here, let's just lock this in. Scotty Scheffler, Wyndham Clark, Brian Harman, Brooks Koepka, Xander Schauffele, Patrick Cantlay. They're in. Those are the 6 that are in.
What happens? Homa had a high finish today.
When Brooks
so
drops
Cantlay,
out.
Yeah.
Brooks
what if that's the scenario?
He won a major.
Okay. So
I'll shut up then.
So Clark, Scheffler, Harman, Koepka, Xander, Cantlay. What 6 are you taking? Your captain.
Homa.
Wait, say that again, Rick.
So Captain Patrick has his automatic qualifiers of Scheffler, Clark, Harman.
Yeah. Okay.
So now he's got to take his other 6.
Okay.
All right. Homa, Spieth, Fowler, Morikawa. That's 4.
Yep.
I'm going to throw Finau on my team. I don't think you can underestimate how difficult it is to play in Europe. And Finau, as a first-timer over there, acquitted himself quite nicely. So I'm going to put Tony Finau on the team. I know he hasn't been great as of late, but I'm going to give him a bone for a veteran presence on a team that really doesn't have a lot of that. You look at that team, Xander, Cantlay, Scheffler, they have never played in Europe before. So those are, 3 of your heavy hitters. You need someone, to talk them off the ledge a little bit. And then 12.
Stop delaying your last pick.
I know. I was really vamping there. 12, I am going to go.
I don't know what you do here.
With whoever wins the BMW Championship, even if they're international.
They're already in.
Then, dude, I don't know. I will pick.
This is horrible.
It's so difficult.
Make a call, Patrick.
I'll pick Justin Thomas.
Wow.
Hell yeah.
So you have snubbed Cam Young, Keegan Bradley, Sam Burns.
Yeah.
I'm out on Burns.
You're out on Burns, the match play winner.
I do not like Burns at all.
Justin Thomas being on this team is an abject, not disaster. It is like, don't even have points. Don't even do anything. Just have a popularity contest.
It's a boys club.
I mean,
I think it's a little different now.
we were talking about this off before we came on. This is the weirdest. This is the weirdest. Cam Young stinks right now. I mean, although he did just he was like top 4 at the Open Championship.
I'm on Cam Young, not JT. I love the driver. I love the driver.
Yeah, driver's going to be great at Marcus Simone. This is going to play like 4,900 yards.
We're going to hit driver.
This year is so strange, Rick, because not only do you have two kind of cameo major winners, right? Wyndham Clark and Brian Harman normally wouldn't factor them into the teams, and so that they're kind of taking up 2 of your presumed spots for other guys. But you also have this, and we've talked about this a lot, but this really strange designated event purses that make the whole thing so volatile. I mean, you could have, what if Denny McCarthy wins next week?
Yep.
Oh, put him on the team.
This is a perfect storm of chaos.
Yes, it is. And usually it gets sorted out, and by the end of it, you're like, yeah, just take Scheffler as your 12th guy and let's move on. But this year, it is very chaotic. It's more chaotic than I can remember it being.
Greg, it's different now. Why is it different now?
Because nobody has stepped up and taken these spots. So the thing is,
when you said it's different now, was that in regards to
JT
Justin Thomas being on the team?
Yeah.
Wow.
Because I don't think you're now making an assessment. I think it's a little bit more of an open pool. You're not taking guys that are playing great. It's not like, Ricky won this week and has been on a tear and you have to take him. Right. Like I have Ricky on my team.
He's been miles better than Justin Thomas this year.
Yes, I know. But I'm saying in this last little, these last couple weeks, guys have really fallen off. Sam Burns has been nowhere to be found. Keegan Bradley, since Travelers, has not, really stepped up and taken this spot. Finau certainly hasn't. There isn't somebody that Cam Young definitely hasn't. I mean, Cam Young's in 8th in the points. Even Jordan Spieth, if he wasn't Jordan Spieth, you'd have questions about him. Okay. I know he had a good week this week.
Pick your 6, Greg. Yeah. Pick your 6.
Okay. So I have.
This is hard.
Put your money where your mouth is. Pick your 6.
It's really just 4, right? Because Homa and Spieth, I think, are just in.
Yeah, they're in.
Yeah.
So I go Morikawa, Young, Fowler, Glover.
So you have snubbed Keegan, Burns, JT.
Yes.
That might be
Finau.
And Finau. That might be mine too. KP, you're 6 or you're 4. So the top 6, Homa, Spieth.
Yeah, Homa, Spieth are 8. And that's who I'm going with. That's it. That's all I'm taking.
You'll save on travel costs.
KP, earlier I was thinking you were saying 7 before, and I was like, who would it be, Homer or Spieth?
Yeah, who's the 7th?
I'll let Brooks fall out, and I won't take him. Yeah. Morikawa's in. He's 9. Ricky's in. He's played great golf all summer. He's 10. Good gosh, this is so hard at 11 and 12. I'm out on Keegan. Like
I think I'm out on Keegan too.
I think if you're in on Keegan, you kind of have to be in on JT. I mean, look at their summers are not that different, right? JT finished T9 at the Travelers when Keegan won. That's kind of both of their only good tournament of the year. Can we scroll back up so we don't have Phil and Justin Suh down here?
I subliminally entice you to take.
I love the Russell Henley highlight. I'm there too.
Finau's my 11th. If I'm going down in Europe, I'm going down with. I mean, Patrick, I can't get that. Remember in Paris when he was just baptizing people and pointing at the do you remember that? He was like pointing at everybody, and you're like, hell yeah, this guy's awesome. So Finau's my 11th. And then my 12th. JT.
Yeah, we should definitely just run back what has worked in Europe so well over the last 30.
Listen, JT went what 5-0 in Paris, 4-0. Just
Jordan
torched.
Spieth went 5-0, 4-0.
He beat Rory.
No,
Yeah.
JT
Oh, you're
torched
right.
Rory on Sunday.
Yeah, that was
Torch.
4
They went to
years ago.
18.
What have you done for me lately?
Yeah, he didn't torch him. I think he beat him like 1 up or 2 up or something. But the JT thing, I sound like an idiot, like picking him, right? I sound like a clown. Like, have you ever watched golf before?
Clip that, Josh.
Just I sound like a clown.
But Ryder, it feels terrible right now when Lucas Glover's playing great golf and whatever. But Ryder Cups are you half win the thing on like emotion, right? It's just such a different deal, and that would be my pick. I actually don't think that ZJ will pick him necessarily, but if I was the captain, that I would say JT as of right now.
I go Homa, Spieth, Young, Morikawa, Fowler, Glover. Send it.
Okay.
That's
the right team.
Unbiased.
We'll see. It's easy for me to say. I got no skin in the game. All right. We are going to continue this conversation, but producer Josh is begging me for a break. So we will continue it after a quick word from our partners.
Fight for something. First play of the game to the last play of the game. 1, 2, 3.
And we've got two of the hottest conferences. This is big time college ball.
They're going to come. We're going to come.
Two big boys getting ready to play. Big, being the operative word here. And here they come.
And we're back. Any other Ryder Cup thoughts?
I think next week is really important. Like, I think it. I don't know. I think it'll like Glover could like legit be on the team this time next week.
I'm just so fascinated with the way I used the phrase perfect storm before, where we're getting a perfect storm of a guy who's made a run like this after they've changed the rules of when we pick guys in a year where no one saw these purse increases coming that would dictate the Ryder Cup. Like, it is just a perfect storm of chaos. And there's a half a dozen guys that if they win next week, punch their ticket, right? They're in. We don't have to do a captain's pick thing anymore. And then that drops out guys that, and now your captain selections are being used on guys that were almost should have been locks to be in. Like, it's just the whole thing has turned into this chaotic, beautiful mess.
There's honestly, this sounds dumb again. Everything I'm saying sounds dumb. There's a long way to go.
Yeah.
Like the many things could change over the next 2 weeks. What do they pick the 6 after the Tour Championship?
Yes.
Yeah. Qualifying ends after BMW, and then they pick after the tour.
So the points will end next week, but Zach Johnson gets to see the Tour Championship as well.
Tour Championship winner Denny McCarthy.
Right.
You're on the team.
Oh, yeah.
Right. Like, what if Denny goes runner up, win, he's on the team, right?
Yeah, right. I mean, that's what I'm saying. Is like, and that has a
Yeah, Glover's out. Forget that.
That has a cascading effect on everything else.
Oh my goodness. All right. The rest of this leaderboard from FedEx, because there was a very good board lining up behind Glover for most of the day. Rory McIlroy shoots a 5 under 65. Patrick comes up a little bit short. He makes 3 birdies out of the gate, 2, 3, and 4. Adds another on 13, another on 18. It was a very good ball striking week from Rory. He was second off the tee, 4th on approach. The putter, after a slow start, did end up being positive for the week. So that Phantom might be in the bag again when we get to Olympia Fields.
And that's on top of missing a gettable one on the opening hole as well. I believe he hit a wedge to just about 8 feet, missed that one. So he easily could have rolled in 4 in a row to start his day. But it kind of just felt like Rory was treading water in the middle portion of that round. He was playing alongside Cantlay, who was putting up birdies. And then you kind of look there on 16, and it's like, oh my gosh, if he gets this up and down, he's going to be right there with a couple holes left. So it was a great round, another great performance. Ever since the PGA Championship, he's been the best player in the world, in my opinion. But just not making or taking advantage of the 16th there is really the stroke you look back on.
What's our level of concern, Greg, on Tommy Fleetwood, who shot a 2 under 68, again, did not get a win, finishes one shot out of the playoff, makes 2 bogeys on Sunday. Game didn't look particularly sharp, and it's just just run the tape again and again and again on top.
Yeah, I mean, that's the hard part about answering that question is nothing's really changed. So how are we concerned? Is the level of concern that will Tommy Fleetwood ever win on the PGA Tour? That's a really high level of concern because he's doing a lot of things really well. He's improved the putting over the past couple of years. His short game's phenomenal. He's a great ball striker. This does not have to do with his physical game at all. It has to do with him simply stepping up. You know, there were a few moments today. He made a really nice putt at 11, which kind of felt like a moment. And then what's he do after that? Right, you know, right back with a bogey. But all in all, I mean, he had a chance on the 18th green to get into that playoff. And it felt to me early on, especially when he missed a number of short putts. I think he missed 3 putts inside of 7 feet in the first 6 holes. It kind of felt like he was going to disappear at that point, and he didn't. He made it all the way to the end. But this isn't a physical thing, right? We need to see a big, roaring fist pump moment from Tommy Fleetwood, and we haven't yet.
I stepped on the rake again with Jordan Spieth KP because I was thinking maybe he's the guy that comes out of this and he stuffs one to 3 feet 7 inches on the first, and I'm putting a circle on the card for him. He proceeds to miss it, and I can't with this guy, man.
Yeah, it's the roller coaster is fun, but it's not the path to winning PGA Tour events, especially at this level, right? He didn't. I think if you look closer at the way he put it together this week, he didn't hit the ball that well. His short game is unbelievable. I mean, how many amazing pitch shots, chip shots, spinny wedges, bunker shot. I mean, it was really amazing, and he didn't even come that close to controlling the tournament, right? I think that's indicative of how he's not there with the iron play right now. Now, is it encouraging for him to finish, where he did and play well for kind of the first time since the Memorial? Sure. But his formula for winning is what everybody's is, which is play awesome from tee to green. And for him, it's been be a better iron player than you are off the tee historically. And he was not that this week. He didn't have, he never really had the stuff to make you think, even though I did pick him on like Saturday morning, but he never had the stuff to make you think like, oh, Jordan Spieth's winning this week. Right. Now hopefully he can play his way into it, but I'm just not quite there yet with him.
Yeah. 52nd on approach this week, 62nd in regulation. He actually hit a ton of fairways, which was a good sign, but did not put it together. The top 50 is set, boys. Josh, do we have the graphic there? Because we know who will be in the BMW Championship, and now we know who will be in all those signature events for next week. Just in Cam Young, who you guys have been besmirching over the course of the last 44 minutes. Hideki Matsuyama goes on a scorching run late in his round to go from like 60th to 47th. Tom Hoagie makes 3 birdies on his final 3 holes to get in. And the bubble boy on the good side of things, Patrick Rogers, another Patrick.
He's poked his head in contention a fair share of times. I assume it's kind of like Valero Texas Open. He was leading that for 54 holes. He lost to Akshay there out in Tahoe. I think that's where they play that one, the Barracuda Championship. So he's someone who's been playing some decent golf. I think the main guy there inside the top 50 has to be the guy on the screen, Hideki Matsuyama. And what he did out of that rain delay, it was reminiscent of his Masters win when he blitzed Augusta National there out of the rain delay as well, to sign, what was it, 5 straight threes and then a 4, or 4 straight threes and a 4 at the end there, to punch his ticket to the BMW Championship. Just really gutsy stuff. He said he knew what he had to do coming down the stretch, and to be able to do that is very, very impressive. I thought the funny part of his post round was, I mean, the chip on 18 looked extremely difficult. And he was like, they're like, how hard is that normally? And he's like, oh, like maybe a 2 or a 3. But circumstance, it was a 10. I'm like, oh my God, really, dude? But really good stuff. He's been battling injuries this year. And for him to, get himself inside the top 50, where it's been kind of a quietly consistent year-ish for him. Not a lot of splash, not a lot of fireworks, but still, a decent year. It's good to see him play next week.
2 or 3 is pretty on brand for him to say.
Seriously, his scale of like real versus feels just does not.
Didn't he do that when he won the Masters? Like he
said, though.
He said his game was a 1 out of 10, and then he won.
Yes, that's right. Because I picked whoever he beat. Yeah, I picked Morikawa. He beat Morikawa.
I thought he beat Cameron Tringali.
Oh.
Remember, it was like a late night, and we were like, Cam, please, we go get your first win, but not now.
It was, well, he did. I mean, I'm sure he beat both of them. He won.
T2 is Brendan Steele, Cam Tringali. Oh, yeah, Morikawa was T7. I just remember having Morikawa that week.
High flyers.
Good week for the high flyers. 51 through 55, Greg. Mackenzie Hughes, Nick Hardy, Taylor Montgomery, Alex Smalley, Thomas Dietrich. It is the end of the road for them.
Yes. Disappointing, especially for Nick Hardy. Right, hit it in the drink on 18. Really tough stuff. And, that comes with a win this year. So, yeah, you're really close. You'll have an opportunity to get into designated events. But unfortunately, the road ends here. You're going to have to earn your way in. Perhaps a win in the fall can get you somewhere close to where you can play them all. So, yeah, it's disappointing for those guys. But this is, the fact that Hideki Matsuyama had to do what he did to get in, it tells me how difficult it is to finish inside the top 50. It's a really good year for Hideki, a really good player, really steady stuff. And so it says a lot when you can even get this close.
FedEx St. Jude in the books. We're headed to Olympia Fields next week. Olympia Fields was the 4th most difficult course on tour in 2020. So that should be fun.
That was Rom DJ, right?
Rom DJ.
That was sweet. It's
awesome.
A cool track.
Before we get to the best bets in the one and done recap, there was a question in the chat from a while ago. So sorry, Josh, I don't know what it was, about should Lucas Glover have changed his pants before the playoff and put a dry set on? Would you have put a dry set on, Patrick?
Is this a should or what I would do situation?
It's a would do. What
got you there works. Just keep rolling with it.
Yeah, you can't change the feel of your lower half going into a playoff.
Yeah.
No way. And they just really, you went from one shade of tan, khaki, to a little bit darker shade. That's all.
Think about how confident you have to be, KP, to not only pull off back-to-back wins, but do it while sweating through, knowing that on national TV, you are drenched on your entire buttocks and everywhere else.
Somebody said he looks like a Five Guys paper bag.
Like the grease.
Wow.
That's pretty good.
Which
That's
is
12.
which is really good. I got to say this, Lucas Glover might be in my top 5 guys of just like, it seems like it'd be fun to play a random round of golf with him. Like he just just super chill, not gonna it would be cool to play a round of golf with Jordan Spieth. I don't know if it'd be fun though, right? And Glover is just like dipping and just hanging out. He seems great. He just seems like he'd be super fun to play with.
I've met him. I spent a little time with him on the short game area before, and he's super nice. Unbelievable short game. You'd never, you don't picture Lucas Glover that way, but he hits some pretty sweet shots. And he's a cool, normal, just a normal guy.
All those guys that were like, "Oh, this guy's short game sucks," are like have unreal short games.
Yes.
Yeah. I would trade short games with like literally anybody in the top 5,000.
It's so relative. It's so relative.
All right. So what I'll do, Josh, is we've got to do our bets and our one and done. I have those available, but first we'll take a quick break and hear a word from our partners.
Who will be crowned champion of champions? Don't miss the UEFA Super Cup on CBS Sports Network and streaming live on Paramount Plus.
And we're back. Let's take a look at the betting recap. None of us had Lucas Glover to win, which I guess is probably not that big of a surprise. Although I bet you it is rare because I think he was 80-1 2 weeks in a row. So I bet you that's pretty rare considering after you win at 80-1 the first time, you're almost absolutely going to get your odds shortened significantly, but you go to a way harder field in the playoffs. You're Lucas Glover, and odds makers didn't give him a lot of respect. So back-to-back 80-1s has probably never been done before. What did we do well? Top 20s, KP, Grillo, and Henley for us. Those are green ones. Henley continues this great track.
Yeah, he's a top 20 machine. That's all he does. Is if you got a point for finishing in the top 20 at the Ryder Cup, they should take him.
Yeah. You don't, though.
No, and they shouldn't take him.
Russell Henley over JT Post and Patrick. So another Henley winner for you.
Yeah, I mean, he's just been playing great golf. I think I said it last week, probably one of the more underappreciated players on the PGA Tour.
The best bets. Do we have those? I've punted mine till later in the year. So Morikawa top 10. Oh, Patrick. This was so close. I was watching this. So Patrick's 11-1 top 10 parlay was Fleetwood and Morikawa. Fleetwood T3, Morikawa T13, one shot away from this 11-1 boy cashing for you.
He hit it in the water on 14. That's I almost punched my screen right then and there. I knew I was done for. And even one of the shot trackers, it might have been on 13. It said he hit his second to 3 feet because I was tracking religiously. I knew what was at stake. It was like second shot 3 feet. I'm like, oh my goodness, yeah. And then it changed it to 8 yards to rough. I'm like, what the hell just happened here?
I would have got you all the way to like even for the year.
Black, I would have been beating Rick's $1, I think.
Hey.
I know. So I'm not on the show this upcoming Tuesday. So we're gonna really get into the lab about the positivity for Eastlake, hopefully. But the markets will be scarce with only 30 players.
You might need to start hammering Europe at whatever they're at, plus 130 or plus 160 or whatever.
Plus 160, I think I just saw.
Yeah. I'll add it into the parlay.
One and done. So.
Oh, I almost got Patrick.
Oh, thank God.
So, Kyle, Cam Davis gets you $584,000. You almost tracked down Patrick, but you did snap into the $10 million mark, and a pretty decent week from Cam Davis.
I was far too invested in his round today. Like he had like a 9-footer on 15. He left his first putt really short, and he had like a 9 or 10-footer, and I was fist pumping his par save on 15 to get into like T7 on the leaderboard. That was as good as I could have hoped for from Cam Davis, I think.
Patrick, Tony Finau did not play well. I think last I saw he had lost 8 strokes putting. That's probably the worst putting event of his career. 42,400 for you.
So I went on a little vacation this week. So I followed Thursday round. I saw he was leading the field in ball striking. I turned the app away. I'm like, once I get back here on Sunday, he's going to be top 5 easily. And then I start my scroll usually from the bottom of the leaderboard and then go up. And I saw him pretty quickly, which was unfortunate.
You didn't have to scroll. He was just like right there.
He was there. Yep.
Greg wins the week. Greg, congratulations. Rory McIlroy, 1.16 million, moving you to 12.6, and you earn this week's crown.
And I don't even move up a spot.
Yeah,
it's disappointing. Look, I thought I had Rory left. Got to play him before Tour Championship. I figured if I wanted any chance at winning, which I still do, even though I don't have one. So yeah, this is the time to use them, and pretty much ends my year. I mean, based on what I have left, I'm very limited now.
Lucas Glover.
It's an option.
Here's what's gonna happen. I'm gonna pick the winner next week. I don't know who it is yet, but I'm gonna pick him. Maybe Hideki.
I thought Denny McCarthy
or Denny. And then Mark and Kyle M are going to get into a prisoner's dilemma with Rory in the Tour Championship, and I'm just going to waltz my way into, because I'm the only other guy that has Rory.
So you think? So the prisoner's dilemma being, but wait, one of them is going to use him. Whoever's
but they both think the other one's going to use them. Whoever's in. Oh, you're right. That's true.
Right. Whoever's in first will use them.
Yes.
You need them to be tied somehow.
You need them to be tied. Yes. Which I don't even know if that's possible, but you need it.
Yeah. Well, Mark almost talked himself into Ben on this week. He's on tilt so hard that he might talk himself out of Rory, but for the Tour Championship.
We could have called Mark on Thursday. So hold on, we'll get there in a second. So Sia had Colin Morikawa. He got not much, he got $386,000. The fans got basically nothing from Terrell Hatton, 64,000. Kyle M and myself got nothing from Sam Burns, 46. Mark got Victor Hovland, who actually rebounded and had a good week, 386,000. We could have called Mark on Thursday when Victor was 2 over par and got him to lock in picks. He would have been so shook that he would have gone with Glover for next week and like Denny or Taylor Montgomery at some point. Like he would have been so absolutely just out over his skis that we could have got him off Rory for the free slake.
Yeah, that's 100% true. Hovland, Rick, I think should have won this golf tournament. He lost 4 strokes on the tee on 18 alone this week.
That's the most, I think that's the most emotion he's ever showed on a golf course was when he slammed the driver on 18T yesterday when he had that sick round going in the bottom.
4 strokes off the tee in 4 rounds. That's that's impossible.
Yeah. No, I agree. He made so many birdies. He probably should have won. He probably played like his ceiling was better than anybody else's ceiling.
Yes.
He just put a couple of numbers up there. Golf's hard.
It is.
Anything else, gents, before we get out of town? Next week is the BMW Championship, then obviously the Tour Championship. We are in the home stretch.
I can't believe I took JT from my Ryder Cup team. That's so embarrassing.
I have a feeling that's not going to be our last conversation on the matter.
Yeah.
No.
Justin Thomas wears 2 different size shoes.
Really?
He's a say that again?
It's actually pretty common out there.
Yeah, my daughter has different size feet.
Yeah, if people were like actually like if you actually did like a legit scan, I think more people would find that as opposed to just like trying on shoes that feel somewhat normal.
Right, like you putting your thumb on the toe.
Yeah, or my mom putting her thumb on my toe. Right. Like, oh, there's room
to wiggle your toes.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, he wears a 9 on the left and an 8.5 on the right.
How about that?
What's wrong, Patrick?
I don't want to offend anyone. I'll bite my tongue. Pretty small feet. No.
There we go.
It's not the size of the feet. It's the motion of the feet.
That's true. He lifts up the left one.
That's
so
right.
A little more power. Makes sense. Yeah.
Anything else?
I'll just shut up.
Yeah, I need to go.
All right, we'll be back on Monday for actually an hour earlier because I have a doctor's appointment. So we're going to go an hour earlier on Monday. And then Tuesday will be normal time, Thursday, Friday, Saturday, Sunday, all that fun stuff. Big thanks to producer Josh, does all the hard work behind the scenes. You can find Patrick McDonald on Twitter at Amateur Status, Greg DuCharme at The Real GFD, Kyle Porter at Kyle Porter CBS. And you can find me at Rick Run Good. This has been The First Cut. We'll catch you next time.